Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
It's being called a once-in-a-500-year flooding event, and it isn't over in mid-Michigan.
Could it get worse? Yes. If the entire structure were to go and the water were to come in a very significant, serious, immediate impact, there would be a much higher surge that would come down the river, and that could raise the level much more quickly than what we're seeing right at the moment. So it is a danger, yes.
One critically important dam has already failed. An entire lake has simply disappeared, and the water is still rising. As the evacuations were rolling late last night, it was really hard to get a full grasp of exactly what was happening.
You're right, Devin, and it wasn't until daylight brought us our first look at the destruction in and around Midland. These are the two areas we're talking about, the Edenville Dam, which failed last night, and the Sanford Dam north of Midland, which has been breached.
We want to get to Jason Colthorpe, who's leading our team coverage tonight from mid-Michigan. Jason, I know you've seen things today that were just extraordinary.
You almost can't overstate it, Devin. Here in Midland, it's a bad situation that's going to get worse. High water has overpowered two dams, the Edenville and the Sanford, and now that water is headed downriver, some of what you see behind me here. The small towns of Edenville and Sanford are now lakes, completely underwater. The water has started to flood Midland, the biggest city in the area where we are now. The Tittabawassee River is expected to crest around 8, maybe 9 o'clock tonight at 38 feet. That's still 3 more feet to go. With mass power outages and parts of the sewer system failing, 500 people have taken shelter at local schools at this point. It's all really jaw-dropping. The area captured with the live pictures from Drone 4, this used to be a lake. When the dams failed, all of the water drained, leaving just this behind. Hard to imagine. And now take a look at live pictures from a neighborhood in Midland. Houses underwater. We'll have a live report from there in just a few minutes. And now here's what it looks like from above live with Drone 4 again. The city of 40,000 submerged. Governor Whitmer toured this area today and says everyone needs to take these warnings seriously.
If you're in an impacted area, please evacuate. This is going to be hard, but we are anticipating several feet of water across this area. And so while we're in the midst of a global pandemic, it's really important that to the best of our ability, we observe the best practices to keep ourselves and our families safe.
Yeah, the pictures from across the area tonight show exactly what a 500-year flood looks like. That's what they're calling it. And when the Edenville Dam failed last night around 7, the rushing water mowed down trees, destroyed houses. It pushed semis and buses around like they were toys. And, you know, we have a sizable team here on the ground in this area, and we coordinate with our team back in Detroit all day long in many different ways, including a group text. And a message came in earlier today that really stopped us all in our tracks. It was from Sean Lay, and it was just 4 words: Wixom Lake is gone. He spoke to a homeowner there whose view is now stunningly different.
Well, good afternoon, everyone from Hope, Michigan. Take a look at your television screens. Take a nice long look, because everything you see behind me, all of this right here, that was Wixom Lake. And look, the lake, the entire lake, it is gone. And people who have full-time homes here or summer cottages were here yesterday at this very time, and the water, the rainwater had built up so much, it was about at shoulder height. So there were evacuations here, and once people got to safety, they heard the dam down there failed, and it was like pulling a plug out of a bathtub. The lake went that way.
It's devastating. That's all. Just devastating.
Trish Wilson from Redford simply cannot believe her eyes. Let us show you the view she is looking at. It might take your breath away too. All of this was Wixom Lake.
This was our summer home for the whole family. This is just devastating. Yeah. This is where we've been coming since I was born.
But around 5 yesterday, the Edenville Dam that created the lake gave way. Trinity Marsh was standing at the dam and watched everything unfold.
We just started hearing trees just cracking and just piling into the thing, and we're in the river, and we're like, whoa, you know.
All of that water, all of that power headed right for Dan Vincent. He owns a gas station at the M30 bridge. That bridge is destroyed. He had to evacuate twice and spent the night in his truck.
In the church parking lot up on top of the hill.
In your car?
In the pickup.
In your pickup?
Yep.
Slept in the pickup?
Yep.
Our family has owned this since the 40s. Never has this happened.
Just a stunning afternoon we spent there on Wixom Lake. And look, people are already rolling up their sleeves. They're getting in their homes because there was so much water in the homes all around the lake. They're starting to clean out, and then they would just stop, walk outside, look at what's left of what used to be the lake, and just shake their heads. They come over to us and say, you know, we had lakefront property yesterday. Today, we do not. There's a brand new subdivision, beautiful new homes being built. It says lakefront property there. But the lake is gone. It's a man-made lake, but people are questioning what the future holds for Wixom Lake and the other communities suffering so much damage. Here in just a quiet neighborhood in this area of Midland, the water is finding its way everywhere. And the water you see behind me is now coming up through drains and basements and is starting to rise here. So there are problems everywhere you look. Nick Monticelli, he's been here for hours today. You got here in the very early morning hours, Nick, and I know you're near downtown Midland watching the water levels there.
Yeah, not too far from it, Sean. Good evening to you. So the Tittabawassee River is actually right to my right here, and this is one neighborhood that is underwater. If Chester wants to zoom in all the way, you can see some houses that are partially submerged and some homes that are completely submerged. But when we talk about these flooding situations, we normally or mentally picture a situation like this. You don't envision downtown areas that have this kind of destruction. And in fact, we found that exact case in Midland today. In fact, the farmers market there, ready to reopen finally after COVID-19. Now that same market is underwater. The images above Midland paint yet another drastic picture of what these dam problems have created. Homes, businesses, bridges devastated by Mother Nature. One telling sign of how high this water is rising is that green roof. It's Midland's farmers market submerged under roughly 8 to 10 feet of water.
We just did this. We just did this, and I don't know if I don't know how fast we can bounce back this time.
Erin Lyons is the manager at the market. She's talking about the 2017 floods. Add COVID-19 on top of that, and this market should have been opening today.
And we figured that out, and we were a drive-through market, and we should be having a drive-through market right now, right here, today, right now.
This is our livelihood. We lost a lot, but we still have our home where other ones their homes are destroyed.
Mark and Kathleen Hatzner are one of the 80 vendors that would have been here, making money for the first time in months.
2020 has been one blow after another, and for small businesses and mom and pop shops, it's like, you know, we just want to get going.
The long-term damage, both physically and fiscally, can't be known yet, but Lyons does know they will rebuild again.
We can. It just might take a little longer.
So we talk about those physical and fiscal impacts, but Jason, of course, the emotional toll is also a huge issue in here, because once all these waters finally go down, whenever that's going to be, that's when the real work is going to begin. And of course, you're in downtown Midland right now. You're right by that farmers market. You can see how long it's going to take them to get things put back together again.
Exactly, Nick. Like you said, people just now ready to reopen that farmers market, and it all yanked away as the water came rushing through. And in an event like this, you do get a devastating look at what it seems like from the ground. But to get the grand scope of this, you really have to go through the air, and the damage just goes on for miles. The images are chilling. Sky 4 and Drone 4 overhead in Midland County, where towns have become lakes because the dams could not withstand the rising water. In Edenville, roads are washed away, big chunks simply missing, and water is now rushing through. Sky 4 captured a man dangerously walking over downed trees to join a group gathered near a steep drop-off that was once a bridge. Cars are submerged in water and buildings have been destroyed. This one collapsed right into the water. And the water levels are so high here, you can only see the roof of this building. Docks that used to stand strong over the water are now nothing but debris in the water. Over in Sanford, a village of just 900 people, a very unwelcome sight in front of the area's welcome sign. Massive trucks have been toppled by the rushing water, pushed around like toys, and the only visible part of this school bus is its yellow roof. Businesses are under feet of water, a clear sign this builder will need to rebuild. In Midland, the area's largest city, Drone 4 shows the water rising around the Tridge, the three-way pedestrian bridge, which is a landmark in the city. Water is creeping into Midland's downtown at this point, and it's already hit neighborhoods. And while it appears there is a stadium under there, it's hard to tell at this point. And of course, all of this as the city is bracing for more. And on that note, let's bring in Ben, who has a look at just the rain totals in this area. And as we say, Ben, there's still 3 more feet to go before this river even crests.
Yeah, and that's just the river, Jason. Of course, there's water all over outside of that river as well. But I want to show you where the rainfall actually was maximized. What you see behind me are the rainfall totals since Thursday. Of course, here's Midland County and the Tittabawassee River. But notice where all of the heavy rainfall totals were basically upstream of that. Around Tawas, Au Gres, those numbers were incredible. 8 inches in 48 hours. Tawas almost at 8 inches there, Sterling 7.2, and then all that water came downstream. So this is the latest forecast for the Tittabawassee, and what you're looking at there in the blue, those are observed. That's 35 feet. That's already above record territory. Forecast to crest there at 38 feet tonight and then slowly fall. But you can see it's going to be days, probably early Saturday, before that river actually goes back below flood stage. So, Jason, a lot of headaches yet to come here, but it may be, at least from the river standpoint, the level of the river, maybe we're seeing the worst tonight.
Boy, and just how much devastation 3 more feet of water can do, we're going to find out. All right, Ben, and a lot of people are wondering, how does a dam just suddenly fail? Well, there were some warning signs about the Edenville Dam. Local 4 defender Karen Drew has been looking into the past inspections and the maintenance on that dam. She's going to have those findings for us coming up at 6. And that's just one part of our coverage ahead in the next 90 minutes of news here. Also ahead at 6, you'll hear the message from a flood victim who lost everything in this, and how the community here is stepping up quickly to help the others who've been greatly affected. You'll also want to head over to clickondetroit.com. That's where we have a photo gallery of the destruction that our team's been putting together that's here on the ground throughout the day here and going all the way back to when these dams failed yesterday. You can find that link right at the top of the homepage at clickondetroit.com. And guys, I'll be back here at 5:30. Number 1, to tell you what you would normally see behind me, and we'll also have an update on one of the hardest hit towns in all of this. But for now, we'll send it back to you guys in Detroit.
Yeah. You got it. All right, Jason. Unreal stuff that we're watching. We'll have more, obviously, as this 90 minutes of news continues. Now, hard to think that all of that is happening in the middle of this global pandemic. Today, the coronavirus took the lives of another 43 Michiganders as 659 new cases of the virus have been confirmed.
Researchers are constantly learning more about the coronavirus and how it impacts the body.
Tonight, 2 new studies shedding light on the risk from a particular complication and a symptom that should signal you to self-isolate. Dr. Frank B. George here with a closer look. Doc?
Yeah, Devin and Kim, the coronavirus doesn't just damage the lungs, it can also impact the heart. New research suggests that patients who show an enlargement of one of the heart's 4 chambers are less likely to recover from COVID-19. Researchers at Mount Sinai Hospital looked at health records from more than 100 COVID-19 patients hospitalized between March 26th and April 22nd. They found patients who had an enlarged right ventricle of the heart were more likely to die from the disease. The study authors say the reason isn't clear, but it could be caused by the obstruction of blood flow in the lungs due to blood clots or lung tissue damage. Direct damage to the heart tissue by the coronavirus may also be a contributing factor. The researchers say, based on this finding, doctors could use echocardiograms to help identify COVID-19 patients at higher risk. Several studies have now looked at one of the stranger symptoms of COVID-19, the sudden loss of taste or smell. A new summary in the Journal of the American Medical Association finds it has become a common symptom in COVID-19 patients. Several studies report it is often the first symptom patients notice or even the only symptom.
Researchers say people who experience a loss of taste or smell should immediately self-isolate and, when possible, be tested for COVID-19. Now, because this symptom is often reported in people with mild symptoms or no other symptoms, it could play a significant role in helping identify these patients earlier and reduce the odds of them spreading the disease to others.
Now, more research is planned on the significance of this symptom. Most COVID-19 patients regain their sense of taste and smell on their own, but experts say those who don't might benefit from available treatments. Back to you.
Fascinating. All right, Frank. Well, it's called Operation Haircut.
How barbers and hairstylists tried to send a message to the governor that they want to get back to work. Here's Grant.
The president taking aim at Michigan's Secretary of State and the governor on Twitter in two unprecedented tragedies, coming up what it means for Michigan voting and critical federal funding.
You are trapped!
4 celebrities are trying to escape from Jack Black's house.
Celebrity Escape Room Red Nose Day Special.
Happily, this